Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Okay. Kareem Ali TV, the Are You Serious podcast, discussing various topics through the lens of hip hop culture. Got the co-host, Slakes the Hughes, aka the lyrical Leviathan. My man, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm like in full scale light skin Jesus mode over here.
I know you got the light shining coming through with the all you need is the torture stake for the Roman government. You know, that's taking it too far. The crucifixion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So someone told me I was whacked the other day and my hip hop abilities were subpar.
That's crazy. Did you then whack them?
I did not. Week? They actually had a couple solid critiques of
how so.
Well, they just didn't like it. You know, people not always gonna like your music, but it's funny how 95 people out of 100 could say positive things or tell you that you're literally one of the greats or an underground king, but you hold on to the 5 people that said something disparaging.
How about that? The negative comment, like a feather on the scale, versus the ton of positive anvils.
Right. The brother had me considering retirement. You know what I'm saying? He hit me I guess he caught me at a vulnerable moment. Usually I'm more mentally tough than that to deal with those type of situations because you gotta deal with that every time you put yourself out there to the public. But for some reason, that shit hit differently because I wasn't even asking him for a critique.
You absolutely can't retire. I literally just wrote a verse yesterday for a track I want you to get on where like you're in the rhyme scheme. So, it's like Kareem Ali feature, Ether teaches and preaches. It's like you gotta
right. I gotta do it, but I mean, I hope I don't disappoint. I might come back like Jordan wearing the 4-5.
Forge forward with the 4-5. I mean, but it's crazy to me though, because people's opinion out here in these streets of of what's considered quality is so tainted.
Yeah.
By the mediocrity of what the culture consumes on a daily basis, especially, talking about mainstream hip hop. Like I'm very isolated and intentionally because, a lot of this stuff, my kids will mention stuff and I'll just be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like I know Ice Spice and that's about it. But, it's crazy to me how, what is considered good has been very much skewed. And so I kind of filter myself, inside the walls of the boom bap church of Latter-day Bmores where, I just get cracked straight from the clergy. And so, I'm bumping Killer
So you kind of stay in the echo chamber.
Inspiration can't escape you when, you're controlling your content consumption in a certain way.
That's true. But at the same time, don't you feel like you need to know what's kind of going on, what the pulse is on the streets of what people are really connecting with?
You need to know enough to know why they're connecting with that to be able to offer an alternative, at least, I think. I mean, man, it was a post on Instagram not too long ago. This sister put up that went viral, where she was reiterating something that Pete Rock had said about how things are so dumbed down and watered down, and the quality and skill factor is so low, and that we're in the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and we can look back at the lineage and see the classics that have tested time.
Right.
And a lot of what's coming out in the mainstream now, forget 50 years from now, like this stuff won't be a fight in people's eardrum 5-10 years from now. It's
well,
like,
they say just from
a saying, where are the classics? Like, where's the music that your generation is going to be playing, when they're grandparents? It doesn't exist for a lot of it.
They throw classic around way too loosely now, and the standards are so low. I think, some people used to use the analogy, like if I lowered a goal to 8 feet, that everybody could dunk. So then what's it worth? You used to say the mediocre was the new dope. And I agree that's the time that we're living in. I mean, people don't even have to be They don't have to put the effort or the work in to really understand what the legends did, what the greats did, understand what skills they need to develop to push it forward. It's almost as if we're de-evolving. I mean, I know people
from a certain perspective, though, in terms of, if you are eating the diet of what the McDonald's is giving you musically, but if you take just a little bit of effort to construct your own vegan meal plan of quality music, then you can consume, treat your apparatus of choice like your own personal vegan chef. And then there's such a wealth of quality underground and independent music, more than there probably ever has been. I was watching this Rap City documentary, and they were just talking about how, as the show went on, the quality of the show decreased because of how the producers were trying to cartel to what was coming out in the mainstream. And, I always thought Rap City ended when, Tigger closed down the basement, but they tried to keep going without him on a new set and a different format with like 4 more hosts and 5 more seasons, and it was just so whack that it had no indent on people's memory to even remember that Rap City went on for like 5
I vaguely remember that it did, but I kind of just drowned out and stopped watching. I don't remember why.
It was like a shadow of itself. And then on the documentary, Ludacris said something that was really poignant, where he was saying that, but if you look at the current generation of youth who are not the followers, who are the leaders among their peers, they actively seek out classic hip hop, they actively seek out independent hip hop, and they not only consume it and study it, but they create content online of them consuming it and reacting to it. And he was saying, the younger generation are coming in a time of the digital age, and they're studying the artifacts that have been left behind, as well as the things that are being created by their peers that is of high quality. So it's like, they're like, McDonald's is right there, but for a lot of them, they're like, we don't go there. We go to this co-op down the street.
I do believe that people always have an understanding of what true talent is. It can't be denied, So true lyricism, I feel like true ability, even vocalism. There is a group of youth that will always seek those things because it's more satiating. And people have a spiritual need to be satisfied by things of a higher level of content and a higher level of talent and lyrical ability. So,
and, brother, if you analyze the arc of history, as it evolves throughout, you will always see without a doubt that it is the youth who lead us every time. Like, in all seriousness, like every movement, it is the youth taking the catalyst to say, hey, we're going this way now. We know that you're saying we should do this, but we're going to do that. And I feel like that a lot of times, if we kind of give them the chance to discover things for themselves instead of try to force them one way or the other, that's where the true evolution of the culture comes in.
Well, the brother we had on the show last week, Prince Mac, brilliant MC, brilliant MC, brilliant young MC. I had to call him out. I had to call him a couple hours after the show because I listened to his project on the way to work. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my mind, and I wish I could plug it for him. But I just thought Unspoken Words. Oh, from the intro to the first song and pretty much all the way through. It was just an immaculate representation of talent and lyrical ability, of storytelling. Immaculate of just artist self-expression shown through a pretty high level of skill for his age. And when you hear stuff like that, it's just no excuse for the degradation and the shameful efforts of musicality being put forth that's presented on the mainstream to our eardrums today. It's like I get offended.
And sometimes it has everything to do with who are your mentors, and who are the
who are your
people who
influences?
guide you to your best self? Because he's a
Right.
student of good brother, legendary cat on the scene. We know Ogun, and his program beats not bullets, so he comes out of that camp. And so
I was
if
also
you're surrounded with the ingredients for the right diet, you have no choice but not just to consume, but to reciprocate something dope of your own.
It's funny. I also was a student of Ogun for years when he was with Rites of Passage. I mean,
Right.
Ogun was like older than me, but I remember him when I was coming into high school. He was going out, and I always looked at him like just an older brother. His presence was almost intimidating back then when you're 13, 14 years old looking up at him. But when we went to college together for a little while, he was definitely older, but I was just inspired by him. I mean, his music, he's one of the reasons that I actually wanted to or thought that I could possibly do music. He was always very encouraging, even through my early rhymes when I actually was kind of whack. He told me that I never was, though. He said it's just something I had to continue to do and develop. And sometimes I still will call Ogun. We call it our biannual conversation, or once every year, or every 18 months, we have a conversation. And sometimes I still pick his brain and ask him things. And he still helps me to this day, gives me nuggets that I can grow and develop from to become a better artist, like even to this day. So I'm always going to appreciate that brother, always going to look up to him, and I definitely respect what he's doing now. He always has had an effect on the youth. So he wasn't just my big brother, but there was a lot of guys out there that I felt like he's done the same thing for. So had to say some kind words about brother Ogun.
Yeah, shout out to the great Ogun, aka
Bmores,
Kevin
Beasley, bro.
Kevin Beasley.
I didn't want to put his government out there, but since we said it, you said it already. Ogun, aka Kevin Beasley.
Because I know recently, his government was put on proverbial blast because of a lofty award that he received, like a lifetime achievement award in community service in the arts. And it's like Kevin Beasley, and it's like, oh right, Ogun.
Yeah. That's a bad dude, man. I used to
Ogun Gordy on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. I used to definitely. I still had some of his albums and stuff, and I remember a lot of his songs, especially from the 2000s when he was just in his absolute prime. I love Ogun. It's Ogun. It's pronounced Ogun. What a bad dude, yeah.
Like the deity.
That's my guy. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I stopped. I still listen to new music, but I stopped going after it after about 2016, 2017. It doesn't make me feel good. The frequency of the sound of it just doesn't make me. The frequencies of it just doesn't. It doesn't appeal to me. Like I really just don't enjoy it. And my distaste for R&B, new school R&B, is even greater than my distaste for what they call hip hop. I don't consider what's going on now hip hop music. I consider it music that people just happen to be rapping. But I don't really consider it hip hop because it doesn't speak to the elements or the essence of what I feel like hip hop is. It doesn't give me that feel. I typically don't enjoy it. But what I hate worse is R&B singers who can't sing. I call them the broken throat whisperers. I really can't take it. And I don't know why we celebrate these people that really lack even a modicum of talent. It's like you can't really sing that well. I mean, you might can sing technically because you're like on pitch and stuff, but I really just don't prefer it.
I mean, what drives me crazy is the singing rappers who don't sing.
Once I hear that, like once I turn on the song,
singing but not really singing.
Once I turn on the song and I hear you, I hear you trying to sing rap, I turn the song off. And I try to connect with it. Like I try to not be that old man, like get off my lawn. I don't want to be that guy. I never want to turn into that guy. I always want to be
don't get me wrong. There's something to be said about, experimenting with cadence and rhythm and melody. Like those are all really strong tools of like lyrical evolution. And like,
I agree.
To try and do it, but not actually do it, and just use the technology and the auto-tune as a crutch, and everything literally sounds like the exact same song with the exact same robot on it. It's really wild.
If you don't do it well, maybe you shouldn't do it. Just don't do it. You don't do it well. So I'm shit. Yeah, I really don't like it, but yeah, but the actual vocalists, they really get under my skin because they don't have any ability at all, and I don't understand it, and I don't understand why. I'm offended that people like it. I'm offended that record companies push that to the forefront, and it's almost like when you get into this, where if a black person, so it's still some really talented people. It's still some people that's really, really sing out there. But if they're black, they push them to like the old folks radio stations. But if they're white, they're like international pop stars. It's
Blue
like
Eyed Soul takes over.
why is that? That's
We know what that is.
That's a conversation for
It's
another
the
day.
Elvis element.
The Elvis element, you know. But they always want to find a white person that had black talent and promote them to a higher level, put the machine behind them. But yeah, I really have a problem with it. I just don't. I'm not gonna name any names right now, but I don't like it at all. Just to laugh, and I'm always impressed by talent. And if you have just a little bit, if you don't have any, then I'm not really fucking with. I'm not saying you have to be the greatest singer or rapper to make good songs, but overall, I'm just more impressed by people who actually have ability. It's like if you're someone who's an instrumentalist and you play a guitar, they can't just pick it up and strum like 2 or 3 chords and say this person is a great guitarist. It's the same thing. These things are quantifiable to a certain extent. It's the same thing with singing ability and rapping ability. Right. You can't just you say, oh, this person is
the honest conversation about the evidence of levels, factual levels to the point. I mean, even the guitar thing is both metaphorical and literal. Something I've seen before is shout out Coppin State University, like one of my all-time favorite professors from there years and years ago, Dr. Dwight Lewis. I once saw him demonstrate to his senior project class the difference between what a C looks like, what a B looks like, and what an A looks like, and what an A plus looks like. And he literally pulled a guitar out of his bag and he started playing a couple strings and was like, that's a C. And a lot of you are doing a C, but you want an A plus. And then he started playing like 4 notes, like this is what a B looks like. And then he started going crazy. Like he really knew how to play this thing. None of us even knew he was a musician. And he was a media professor. And he started going crazy. Like that's an A. And then he did some other shit and started doing some improvisational embellishments and some circle of fifth and some syncopation and it was like, yo, like that's an A plus. And so you want to do C work and get an A plus, and that's so much of what you see happening in the industry side of things now, where it's like it's a lot of C plus music, but people want to treat it like it's A and A plus.
Well, a lot of them don't prioritize the work of what it takes to be good. They don't prioritize the same things that we did when it comes to hip hop. They don't prioritize lyricism.
Exactly. What you prioritize is going to show or don't.
Yeah, they don't put that to the forefront. It's not important to them, and because so many of them are not good and can't do it, it's like they create this collective group think where they're making it seem like they try to de-emphasize the importance of it, and which leaves us thinking like what the fuck are we? What are we doing this for? Like, what's really happening? How many times have you met somebody be like, what do? I make music. And when you sing, you rap, I do a little bit of everything. That means you probably do nothing well. I don't know. But
we do it for the culture to preserve what the future will hopefully recognize as, I was shout out to, another mentor, Talam Macy, the legendary poet, world renowned. And he, one time I randomly just like literally bumped into him. This was like more than a decade ago now, like on Charles Street. I was like coming out of the subway, and he was like just unprompted. He was like unpromptedly often just dropped gems. He was like, I was thinking recently, like, Miles Davis and Coltrane and, Sonny Rollins and all of them. He was like, they were broke too. It's like, back when they were creating the legendary historical music that we now look at as the gold standard, they were broke when that was happening back then, so we got to just keep doing what we're doing. And then he just walked off in the other direction. I was just like, damn, I really need to hear that shit right now.
That's true though. That's true to a certain extent. I mean, I don't advocate being a starving artist like that because I like
exactly,
having money, but you
it's
know,
good. It's good to know the perspective. Like when you're amongst the trees, it's hard to
keep doing what you're doing is key though. To keep doing what you're doing, and because you never know in the future. Right now, you know, someone's listening to that and gaining inspiration from it. You're making history right now at this moment with the
Right.
stuff that lyrical
Kind of like that
mind.
KRS-One freestyle, like
Yeah,
right now, myself in the future, in the hotel room, is manifesting this moment here with you. Like,
man, 60
but it's
years from
real.
now,
The metaphysical
someone's
aspect of it is real. Like when we touch into this creative realm, we're
right.
touching into something deeply spiritual, and we often aren't always aware of it as it's happening around us.
60
But
years from now,
the light
somebody's
shines behind
picking
you.
up. They're streaming your album on Bandcamp or something like that. Like, man,
Right.
this guy. Why does anybody know about him? And they're researching you. You may still be
Man,
alive in that time. You may be like
man,
102 or whatever.
shout out one of my truly brilliant mentees, you know, my god niece, Afrodelic, the multi-artistic disciplinary who really does do multiple things extremely well, including DJing. And I was just reading a post of hers a few hours ago. She was talking about how music is like an organic, you know, way of time traveling. And it's like, you know, you can tap into different aspects of linear time and different time parts of a timeline through music. You can literally travel through space and time just by, you know, finding a song from 40 years ago that people didn't appreciate at the moment, and then you play it in a whole room full of people, discover it and suddenly dance to it, or you know, you're creating something now that will send an echo of a message, you know, 100 years from now.
Very interesting.
So music is organic.
Music is spiritual. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual frequency that you tap into, and it comes and filtrates through the artist, and you know. So I agree with her. I wrote a song called Quantum Photons that I particularly think that you would like.
Jermaine Williams goes with that.
Quantum Photons. I think you
quantum photons of the protons and boson theory.
I don't even want to let you hear it, so I produced a video. But if you want to hear it, I got it. It's finished. I'll send it to you if you really got to hear it.
That sounds like some algorithms right there.
Yeah, nah, you might like that. Quantum Photons. You know. It's some of the new efforts that I've done. You know, I can't wait to even though I got that, you know, negative critique unsolicited. Somebody was trying to get to work with me on something, but it wasn't necessary for him to like my music to help me with something. I just wanted to let him know the quality of it. But he came back with these negative opinions or whatever. But even with that, even though I felt I could contemplate retirement this week because like, what do I have to show for all this shit?
They are opinions.
Yeah, I know. It's okay though. It's okay. I mean, I didn't take. I mean, I don't think he was trying to be negative. That was just his norm. That's just what he felt. It was disappointing. Not everybody likes conscious music though, and not everybody likes. But I think that he. I saw him at a Wu-Tang or Nas show, so I think he might. You know, so that hurts even more because the people that I probably patted myself after, he actually liked it a bit different. If he was out there just rocking a Soldier Boy,
right?
I would have dismissed him. But you know, it's all good. Not everybody's gonna like what you do. What I do sometimes is very, very heavy. It's very much a
lot. Everyone doesn't like to necessarily think or learn while they're listening to
exactly. And even some of those other people, the Wu-Tangs, and even though there's elements of consciousness, a lot of times it's like East Coast gangster rap. So a lot of people really, you know, geared towards listening to that, or their mind is skewed that way. And I've had a lot of people like that just want to listen to just the crime shit. I don't know why we value, as Black people, criminal street shit over shit that's going to actually elevate and liberate us as a people. That's a whole other conversation.
That's one, a whole other show, and two, something we've kind of laid breadcrumbs on some other episodes about how, in terms of like, you know, how the powers that be, so-called, co-opted the industry for that exact focus.
That's true. And we see, sometimes I think like, why am I even doing this? The CIA won. I should just sit back, I should sit back, take care of my family. What's the point of being modern or being what's the modern day version of it? Shadow banned or your social media and not being able to get anything out, or you know, because there's so many people that died for us, but what do they have to show for it? Like we celebrate them, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther Kings, and so forth. But it's like, damn, maybe they should have just shut up for a little while and spent more time. They'd be here with their grandkids. They would have just died like 10 years ago. Like, why are we even doing this for niggas to turn around and Nicki Minaj to be in the window mocking Malcolm X, talking about looking ass nigga with a rifle looking through the window?
That's deep.
Looking ass nigga. Like, what's the? I don't know. So I got a little comedic. Don't take what I said seriously, but I kind of mean
that's like a series of episodes. You just opened up the
it's like, why do we like? I've heard people say conscious music is boring and I don't want to hear all that positive shit. Like, nigga, why? What's this woke garbage? Woke? Don't you want to be aware? Don't you want? Or you just want to celebrate the things that contribute to our own destruction constantly?
See, brother, the whole rap. We are the Jonahs of our time. You know, it is upon us to go to Nineveh and spit the truth. If we stay within the confines and comforts of the warm well, then the culture will never survive.
Hey, man, it is what it is. But look, we're going to end this. We're going to come right back. Kareem Ali TV. My man, Slakes the Hughes, the lyrical Leviathan returns. And we've been waiting for him to come back for so long.
Not only are we serious, we're very serious.
Very serious.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood, looking out through the window, I'm looking out over my hood.